guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started for our test review for toxicology and controlled substances. Okay, so number one, he is the father of forensics toxicology. He became known for his book on the chemistry of toxins in 1820s and developed tests to detect the presence of toxic substances in the body. So for him, this is basically the start of forensics toxicology. And his name was, and I'm hoping I'm saying it right, Matthew Orfilia. Okay. Number two, the extent to which a substance is poisonous, okay, is toxicity. Okay, you could find this one in slide number 54. And mainly, I think the main thing that you need to know about this is pesticides. I mean, basically we do use pesticides in our home to make sure we get critters out of our home, to make sure they're not there. And there is a certain amount, to an extent, that it has to disclose in any kind of pesticide that you use in the household. Number three, forensics toxicologists are not always examining body fluids and tissues, looking for exact chemicals that have been used. But they may also look for this metabolites. Okay, so again, they're looking for this metabolite, and an example is, for example, heroin converts to morphine. Yes, believe it or not, heroin does convert to morphine within a second. Within a second. Okay. Number four. Number four was one of the most common poisons used through the 17th and 18th century. So this is a little bit of history. So the one that was mainly used was arsenic. Okay. Um, Arsenic. Okay. And due to its ease of availability in rat poison and the fact that it is odorless and it's also tasteless. Okay, and detection was near impossible until the late 1770s when a marsh test was invented. Number five, if someone consumes poison in a suicide attempt or to inflict harm or death upon others, the exposure is classified as deliberate. Number six, resin is a bioterrorism agent derived from what plant? And believe it or not, it is castor. Yes, a bean. It's a beans. Yeah, it's just a plant that has bean that looks like beans, and it's actually a bioterrorism agent. Okay. Number seven, where does the bioterrorism agent anthrax come from? This is actually, it is a bacteria. It is a bacteria that comes from infected animal feces. I know it's gross, right? Okay, number eight. Arsenic, lead, and mercury are all classified as heavy metals. Most narcotics are physically addicting. Uh, depressants, depressants to the nervous system. Okay, and they're also pain relievers, and they're obtained from opium. Obtained from opium. Okay, number 10. Most narcotics are derived from what plant? This is the opium. Number 11. Which are examples of narcotics derived from opium? Number 11, it would be, some examples would be heroin, okay, morphine, also codeine, methadone, and oxycodone. Number 12, barbiturates. They act to produce sleep. They also suppress the central nervous system. Also, it promotes relaxation, and a creates a feeling of well-being. Stimulants. Okay, so stimulants, they increase alertness and activity. They suppress appetite. It's addictive, of course. And examples are like caffeine and so on. Okay. Let me see. What are some examples of drugs that are considered stimulants? Okay, so first one, of course, is meth or methamphetamine. Cocaine and amphetamine. Next speed. Hmm. Um, Also, like caffeine. Caffeine is actually a stimulant. Caffeine. Nicotine also. Okay. Number 15. Another name for uppers. Um, Examples include cocaine, meth, amphetamines is, of course, your stimulants. These are your stimulants. And let's go ahead and go to number 16. Okay. What are some examples of drugs that are considered hallucinogens? It's MDMA, which is ecstasy, LSD, then phencyclidines, PCP, and mescaline. Okay, number 17. The Marquis reagent was used in an undrugged evidence and it turned purple. The drug being tested is actually heroin. Could be heroin. Number 18. Ducanase. Labine solutions were used on a sample and the chloroform layer turned purple. This suggests that the tested substance, okay, should is marijuana. Number 19, traffic deaths in the US related to alcohol consumptions are around 15,000 per year. Number 20. Alcohol is absorbed into the body in the stomach. It's absorbed into the body in the stomach. The long-term use can damage the liver. Alcohol is oxidized in the body, primarily in the liver. 22. Alcohol is eliminated from the body chemically unchanged in perspiration. Perspiration. And urine, and also even just breathing and breath. Okay. The Controlled Substance Act established 5 schedules of classification for substances based on a drugs. On a drugs, basically, there's there's like 3 or 4 reasons. Okay, it's basically potential for psychological dependence. Okay, number 2 is potential for abuse. Potential for abuse. Number 3, potential for physical dependence. Potential for physical dependence. And fourth reason is medical use as well. So that's how they classify and based on these four reasons. Okay, that's how they classify those toxins, medical use. Okay, so now let's go into classifying the controlled substances. Okay, so there's schedule 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so low potential in its use, it's medical use and has low potential of abuse and dependency, and it's for medical use. That's actually Schedule 5, and it goes in order. It goes in order based on this. Um, okay, so the lowest and use and medical use, low potential, that will be Schedule 5. Schedule 5. Heroin. I mean, heroin is definitely Schedule 1, because it has a very high potential of abuse, a high potential psychological dependence, physical dependence, and no medical use. And so heroin would be Schedule definitely 1. Okay. Codeine would be Schedule 4 because it has some medical use, so, and, even though there's some potential for some, but because of the medical use, that would be a 4. Basically, low potential for, because it has a low potential of abuse and addiction, and it's acceptable for medical use. Okay, so it will be Schedule 4. Okay, the tranquilizers, Valium, Xanax, the same thing, and Librium. These are drugs with low potential for abuse and addiction, but it's currently acceptable for medical use. So again, this is Schedule 4. Okay, there's still some possibility of abuse and addiction, but it's very low. Okay, number E, drugs with less potential for abuse and addiction, currently acceptable for medical use. That will be Schedule Schedule 3. That would be schedule. Ecstasy is has basically it has no medical use, high potential of abuse and addiction. So that would be one. Schedule 1. Okay, opiates. Opiates is basically low potential of abuse. It is medical use, lowest potential of dependency. So that would be Schedule 5. Drugs deemed to have the highest potential for abuse and have a current medical use are listed in which schedule of the controlled substances. That will be Schedule 2. Okay. Steroids will be Schedule 3. Cocaine would be Schedule 2. So basically, yeah, highest potential abuse. It has very much. It has some medical use. Okay. Drugs with the highest potential for abuse and addiction and currently no medical value. Okay. That's when it's like a big no no. Big no. It's Schedule 1. Okay. Like heroin and ecstasy. Drugs with low potential for abuse and addiction, but currently acceptable for medical use, that would be Schedule 4. And then marijuana is Schedule 1. Okay, and again, okay, so keep in mind what they are, and they are in order. So Schedule 1 has the highest potential for abuse, highest potential of addiction, and no medical value. That would be Schedule 1. So the worst of the worst. Okay, at least for abuse and addiction. Okay, and no medical value. Okay, Schedule 2 basically has also high potential of abuse and addiction, but has some medical use. That will be Schedule 2. So you see, it goes usually in order, if it's medical use or not, or abuse, okay? And then Schedule 3, this one has, it's not quite the same as 1 or 2 because it has a little bit less potential for abuse and addiction and it's currently acceptable for medical use. And then 4 would be Schedule 4. It has a low potential, lower than this Schedule 3, you see, and addiction, and currently acceptable for medical use. And then Schedule 5 would be low potential use, medical use. These are your over the counter. Lowest potential for dependency, medical use. These are the over the counter medication. Okay, and that's a wrap, you guys. Have good luck on your test. I will talk to you later.